Well, thank you all for coming out here today for a very important announcement for the city. Before I became mayor, I spent 35 years or so in business, and there's a bunch of things I learned throughout that. One is that you have to have a great plan. Second is you've got to be great at execution. You got to always improve, and then you always have to look to innovate at the same time. And that's how we define a person's job here. Daily work, continuous improvement, and innovation work. And I brought those ideas to Metro government in 2011. You might recall that we were dealing with the Great Recession at that time, and there was no question for us to flourish as a city. We needed to do more with less and make sure that our residents knew that as well. So the first thing we started to do was start with, one, a great plan, two, then train everybody in data collection. If you can't identify the problems that you have in front of you, it's hard to be innovative. So that was the first step that we took. We call that reactive problem solving. And then we also needed to have skills so that we could innovate. If there's not a solution to a challenge, how do you come up with breakthrough ideas? And certainly we needed to have what I call total participation, inclusiveness, everybody being part of a solution. And so all that led to what we call our Office for Performance Improvement and Innovation. We were the first city in the world that I know of to come up with the concept of a Chief Civic Innovation Officer and dedicate resources just to innovation. And there were a couple different cities that had what they called STAT programs, where they were just using data, but they didn't have scientific problem-solving methods that they were using to improve their operations. So we integrated the best of the private sector with the public sector to create the Office for Performance Improvement and Innovation. And we have been nationally recognized on a very large scale. This office alone has brought in more than $13.5 million in grants since its inception, a very impressive amount by any standards. And then also since 2017, OPI has helped facilitate a 29% reduction in repair time at Louisville Metro Park Central Services Repair Facility, savings of over $72,000 by taking over the employee engagement survey from an outsourced company while substantially increasing the participation rate. We involved all types of community partners in hackathons to help us better use our data for improvement. We've gotten more people involved in the digital platforms that are just vital, essential for the economy of today and tomorrow, and that includes more than 500 low-cost internet signups with local providers and we've distributed more than 350 refurbished or donated computers for residents in need in 2018. So this is a big part of our digital inclusion strategy. Then we've brought in $220,000 to support digital inclusion and $1.5 million to implement modern intelligent transportation systems as well. So there's an awful lot that goes on in this department that then sets the tone for the rest of Metro government, not just through the excellent planning that we do, but by these grants that we're receiving so that we can really delight our citizens with activities and processes and products that they probably have never even thought of before. So we're here today to really joyfully announce that the efforts guided by this team are being recognized again on an even grander scale on a national level. Cities are competitive with each other, always trying to be the best. And there's a standard out there that we all use when we think about, are we being responsive to our customers? Are we using data appropriately? Are we efficient? And it's the What Works Cities platform that's the guide for all cities in that area. What Works Cities is a Bloomberg Philanthropies initiative that is really the authority that mayors look at and city governments look at on the use of data and evidence by cities. And the What Works certification program has provided us all, cities around the country, a platform to compare ourselves to each other, to learn ourselves for each other, and to see who are the best at using data, who are the best at innovating, who are the best at having well-run local governments. And then it also looks at how cities operate and offers best practices to them. So smart organizations have cohorts that they work with that if we don't have an answer to a problem, we can call up our friends in Chicago or LA or Boston or wherever it might be and through the colleagues that the folks behind me have, they can go through what they've experienced as a city so we can accelerate our problem solving and come up with great solutions for our citizens even faster. What Works Cities also then recognizes top performers annually. This is the second year that they've done that. They recognize top performers like Louisville Metro Government. We're very proud of that. So today, we're proud to join you all today to celebrate that Louisville Metro Government and the Office for Performance Improvement and Innovation has achieved the gold certification from What Works Cities. That's a big thing. That's a really big deal. There's there's 4 levels to this award. There's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. There has not been a platinum award level winner in the history of the country yet, but I feel like next year there will be one. What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
And so this year there's a total of 4 cities at gold certification. Last year there was 1, and then there was, I think, 6 of us at the silver level. So we've moved up from silver to gold. So the 4 gold cities in the United States of America with What Works certification are Louisville, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., and Kansas City. So we are all always fiercely competing with each other for innovation and improvement recognition and grants from foundations as well. And clearly you've heard here today we've done awfully well on that. There were 90 applicants this year with What Works Cities out of 1,400 eligible cities. So obviously achieving this is a real mark of excellence for us. We're in an exclusive club of cities that are leading the way in efficient, effective, data-driven, and well-managed local government. So I'm really proud of that. Among other things, What Works Cities, when they were looking at our innovation work, they were particularly impressed with how we've partnered with the Waze app to, in many instances, replace traditional costly traffic studies. That effort, guided by OPI2, is now being replicated by other cities around the country. All of this work here on improvement and innovation comes at a really important time, obviously, for our city. Just this next budget coming up, we're facing a $35 million budget gap because the state pension obligation and Metro Council's decision to pass on new revenue. So it's more important than ever that we're able to innovate and improve and do more with less. And this team behind me does that clearly, in my view, better than any city government in the country, and this certification or recognition today certainly puts us, along with 3 other cities, in that top tier of American cities. So that's a big deal, and I hope all Louisville is very proud of it. So just like in 2012, we're going to keep working hard every day on improvement and innovations. They just don't happen by themselves. You have to have the training and the skills and the awareness, the open data initiatives that we have to make all of it happen. And that's why I'm really thankful for this team. I've been able to visit many cities and work with their improvement and innovation folks, and the amount of depth and breadth that we have with our team and the way then we scale that through the organization, through training and other best practices is really, really impressive. I mean, you guys are great, and that's why I'm really thankful for the team here. I'm thankful for their leaders. Carmen Moreno Rivera runs our performance improvement side. Grace Simrall runs our innovation side. So first, we're going to hear from Carmen, who's going to share a few words with us about the work of her team. Carmen Moreno Rivera. Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor. And thanks to What Works Cities for recognizing Louisville Metro government as being one of the top performing governments in the nation. In my work in the private sector, we use third-party assessments all the time to gauge our organization's performance. It was a part of our continuous improvement mindset, a part of our employees' mindset, a part of the behavior. It was a part of the culture at the company, and we were dedicated to getting better. So I view what we do with What Works Cities in this certification as a gift. I think the accreditation process that we go through, the analysis that my team did to submit the application was very in-depth. We already identified for opportunities for continuous improvement. We'll be working towards that. Our team will look at the report that we get with the feedback from What Works Cities. We'll look at the recommendations. We'll take best practices from other cities and see how we can incorporate that into Louisville Metro to continue to make us more efficient. It's something we're dedicated to, so we will continue that work to make our departments functionally excellent. So again, I'm excited for the certification, excited to continue our work with What Works Cities. Thank you to my team for the extensive work that they did and they continue to do around continuous improvement. And here's to our march towards the platinum status.
All right, we got great leaders with Carmen and Grace and everybody on this team, and they have joy in work, which I really appreciate that. Grace runs our innovation team, which is really far-reaching in terms of the work that we've done. It's everything from crowdsourcing data around air quality to more intelligent traffic systems to lots of different initiatives with our smart city work. So, Grace Simrall.
Thank you, Mayor. So today is an incredibly special day. I think you've heard from the mayor and Carmen how we oftentimes don't get opportunities like this for recognition. And so I very proudly say that while we've had a lot of recognition over the years about being the first civic innovation office, we can stand here today and say we are the best. And it isn't bragging if it's true. And so thank you to What Works Cities for validating what my team shows up to do every day, which is to make Louisville Metro and our city more efficient and effective in how we serve our residents. Case in point, the Waze project, which What Works Cities highlighted as an example of best in class, really started off as the necessity, where necessity is the mother of invention. We were finally encountering, as a city, the first instance of big data. Many cities ended up saying it was overwhelming, both from how much data there was, how quickly we were getting it, how new it was, especially the platforms that it uses. Instead, my team rose to the challenge and said, this isn't overwhelming, this is an opportunity. And why is that important? We saw that if we shared pre-planned road closure information, Waze would end up building a better product. And in turn, residents who we care about the most would have the best turn-by-turn navigation app that's free for them on their phones to use. Now, what do we get in return? We get unparalleled, efficient, better data that we've never had before. We are able to transform how we do business as government when it comes to transportation. And we are being recognized for a solution that scales across the world. We don't just work with other cities and other states, we even work with other countries in this project. And so I want to take the opportunity, I don't get very many of these, to celebrate the great team who stands behind me, who brings innovative and creative problem solving to everything they do. And so what would a celebration be without some thank yous? The first thank you is to Michael Schnurla. He is the city's data officer, the very first data officer, and through his leadership efforts, we reached 100% in the categories of data governance, open data, and stakeholder engagement in this survey, which largely in part helped us move from silver to gold. I want to thank Mary Hampton, the city's data scientist, who led all of the data visualizations and analysis on the Waze project. I want to thank Ed Blaney, the city's civic technology manager, who helped to design a solution that's actually useful to our public works traffic engineering team. I want to recognize and thank Ricky Santiago, the newest member of my team, who is the city's digital inclusion lead and makes sure that more residents can benefit from these types of digital solutions as we close the digital divide. I want to thank Siobhan King, who's the city's innovation and improvement coordinator, who manages the Louis Lab we stand in to make it easier for external stakeholders to engage with us. I want to recognize the Department of IT, led by Director Chris Seitz and Deputy Director Ken Hillebrand. They enable the tech platforms for innovation. That includes cloud solutions, and they rightfully work on breakthrough innovations themselves. And then I want to expand the thanks. It's not beyond our team. I want to thank the Public Works Traffic Engineering team for being so willing to co-create on a solution with us. It was really amazing to us that this new set of data not only could transform how they do business, whether it's validation of traffic timings, doing minor traffic retimings, identifying problem areas, but there are at least 2 instances where having access to this data in this solution meant that they could actually get to the root cause of why those traffic problems existed and actually solve those problems. And they would not have been able to do so, certainly not this quickly, if it weren't for this data solution. I want to recognize and thank the data governance team, whose cross-functional work is breaking down silos and helping departments realize the benefits of data-driven decision-making. Their efforts also helped us reach that 100%. I want to thank the Innovation Advisory Council, who works with us to reach an even larger set of stakeholders in the community and helps us find opportunities for breakthroughs. So thank you all for your dedication. It goes unseen when you've done a good job because that's the nature of the work. I am so pleased that this What Works Cities Gold certification gives you the recognition you deserve.
All right, great job. We're going to take a picture here in a minute with our, I guess, what do we call the thing we have there? A seal? Our seal. But before then, we can take any questions if you have any.
What does this recognition communicate to the citizens of Louisville about how Louisville operates?
Well, I hope really good things. I mean, obviously, think about this as us being in a national competition, and then there's 4 cities that have achieved the very best, the gold. So we're one of those 4 cities from around the entire country, and it's just something I think all Louisvillians should say, wow, the focus that Metro has on innovating and improving, the focus Metro Louisville has on innovating and improving is nonstop. These resources to it provide this level of recognition for us. But when you think, Lawrence, beyond that, the $13.5 million that this team has brought to the city in grants that we would not have had to work on our smart city initiatives has really helped push us forward in some of these areas that other cities don't have. So the investment we make here, the returns that we're getting are manifold. Then this group also, is where we do our planning for the organization. So we start with a great strategic plan, we cascade it through our departments, then we're constantly improving through Louistat. So this is really kind of the backbone, if you will, for planning and improvement and then innovation. So Louisvillians should say, hey, we're the best in the country with this. Good job, keep it going.
You've been saying for a long time now that Louisville is a very efficient city. Does this demonstrate that? Does this prove that point?
The timing is good. That's right. You're right. When you think about our budget standpoint, and look, everybody should be taking a look at our budget and saying, are we efficient? But, as a business guy, when you strip back the detail, you have to stop and say, okay, how efficient are we? We've said of our 19 peer cities, we're the 4th lowest with our employee to population ratio. So that means we get a lot done with less resources than most cities. And then a recognition like this says, it's not just us saying it, it's also this kind of national organization that's saying to Louisville, you've got one of the best city governments in the country. So now the nature of this work is we say, that's true, but we can always get better. And so that's what we're constantly working on. That's why we'll constantly be even more and more efficient, but why it's really important to resource organizations like this.